Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to edit your Twilight photos and do it super quick and streamlined while getting professional results. My name is Jonathan Corbett. This is the second of a 4-part series on how to edit your real estate photos. We're going to be, in the first video we did exteriors, this one we're doing Twilights, the third one we're doing hand-blended interior real estate photos, and on the last video I'm actually going to be teaching you how to outsource and how to do it cheaper, faster, and better. Let's go ahead and hop in to our exterior shot today. So this is the exterior Twilight shot. This is the one we're going to be editing, and I'm just going to show you how we are going to get this result and also at the same time avoid this result, a overly baked kind of crispy Twilight shot that you see a lot. This also has, some Halloween type orange in the windows that really gives a more of an ominous look versus a very classy, inviting, welcoming, warm home at sunset. So let's hop into Lightroom here. This is the image we're going to begin working with, and we need to make a few observations. Firstly, a really important part to getting high quality Twilight edits is starting with an excellent photo. Notice that we have nice, bright windows with all the lights turned on, and I made sure that I went the extra mile and make sure that the garage windows also have good light coming through. This requires to shoot at the right time of day with the right settings and being patient so that you get this nice blue hour. This blue hour with the sun, with the sky is having still a little bit of a blue in the sky, but you can see an even exposure from the outside of the photo, the outside of the house, and the inside of the house, where the windows are easily visible, but the outside of the house is also easily visible. Anyway, let's start with a good photo and don't try to rescue a photo that's really bad. So the first thing I'm going to do is reduce the highlights a little bit, and then I'm really going to raise the shadows. We want the house to pop out from the darker background because we are selling the home, right? We're not selling the flowers. We're not selling the beautiful sunset. We are going to be selling the home. Now, when we start working with this image, we can immediately see that the color tone of the windows are a little bit too orange. How we're going to change that is go down to the hue. And rather than trying to guess which exact color that those windows are, the best thing to do is actually adjust the hue by grabbing this little color picker here and clicking, holding, and then dragging to change the shade of it. And you can go quite extreme in either direction that you want here. If you want to reset it back to the beginning, double click these sliders. But you want to click this color picker and then just slightly adjust it so that it's not an orange, but more of a warm, inviting yellow. And then we're going to want to change the luminance. The luminance is going to see how bright that color is. And we are going to raise the brightness of that color slightly. And we do want to play with the saturation. Sometimes adding saturation helps. Sometimes removing saturation helps. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of saturation out of those windows. And that's how we're able to edit a lot of this without having to use Photoshop in certain situations. Now, that being said, now that we have a pretty decent window, I'm going to go ahead and select the entire subject or the entire home here. You can do that by going to the mask, selecting mask, and asking them to auto-detect the subject. In this case, it worked quite well. So I'm going to raise the exposure of the home because we wanted to pop out a little bit more from the background. All right, and that is very, very nice. At this point, the real thing that's missing here, I'm going to add a little bit of saturation. Oop, no, I don't like that actually. We're going to leave it right there. The thing that's missing here is some dramatic sky, and we can't actually replace the sky in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is right-click, edit in, and then edit in Adobe Photoshop. And this is going to pull up Photoshop in just a few seconds. I'm going to show you exactly how to get a very good sky swap automatically but really also do it manually for superior results. So here is the Photoshop photo here, and we're editing it with with Lightroom adjustments. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and press Control or Command J to copy your layer. This way, in case you ever make a mistake, you're always going to have that background layer ready to go that you can revert back to. Now, if you guys want to do a simple, quick and easy, quick and dirty sky swap, you can just go to Edit and then do Sky Replacement. There is a feature that does all of this automatically, and it will give you an option to change the sky. But if you guys just want to do a sky replacement and just have it spit out, this is what it's going to look like. The problem with this is, while it works pretty decently in this case, and you can make adjustments here, it's not always going to work out great. Plus, a lot of people get very lazy and just use the stock skies inside Photoshop. If you guys are going to use the stock replacement to do your sky swaps, I at least recommend you add your own sky photos here. So go ahead and at least add your own photos in, so you're not using the same exact skies you see everyone use sky swaps for, right? But you don't really need a tutorial on how to use the automatic sky replacement. You just need to know where the button is, and you guys can figure out the rest of this for yourself. What you may need is help actually replacing the skies yourself manually when the automatic sky replacement doesn't work. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. So I'm going to grab the quick selection tool, and I'm going to select the sky in a very basic way. We're not going to try to get everything right perfectly. The next part we're going to do is going to go ahead and select and mask. Now we're going to go over the different parts of the images that weren't very, clean cut. So this roof line, I'm not going to even touch. Photoshop got it right perfectly. But you'll notice there's some missing parts here in the tree line. So we're going to then just click and drag and look over these parts to make sure that Photoshop takes a second look at a lot of these areas. And after it takes a second look, it's going to look just fine. And I'm going to use the brackets to make a wider selection here. And now we have a beautiful, clean selection of the tree line. And I'm just going to press OK. Make sure you take a look at my settings here. I haven't really touched much. I'm just using the Refine Edge brush tool here to make these adjustments. I'm going to press OK. And now we have a beautiful selection of the entire sky. I'm going to add a mask and then compress Control I. If you guys are familiar with Photoshop, you'll be following along with me very well at this point. If you're not familiar with Photoshop, what this mask is doing, you have a white and a black part of the mask. I like to remember this. If you're hiding, you want to hide in the dark. So the black hides the sky. But you'll notice, Jonathan, nothing has changed about the image. Well, that's because we haven't added our sky yet. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and drag and drop a sky in, and I've paid for sky packs. You guys can find some free images that are royalty free on Google if you like, or use some of your own. I believe this is either a royalty free image or a sky swap package that I bought. I'm just going to press enter, and then you'll notice all I have to do is drag this sky below that first layer, and we have a wonderful sky swap. And I'm just going to make sure I move this around here to put it exactly how I like. And we also want to make sure there's no overlap. Perfect. Now, what a lot of people will notice here, and this is where people don't get it perfectly right, if you zoom in, you can see that there's a little bit of haze. The way we're going to get rid of that actually is by just lightly brushing in to blend in the two layers together. So I'm going to select the Twilight layer, add a mask, and I'm going to select the mask layer. I'm going to select the brush tool. You can just press B for brush, and I'm going to make sure it's set on black. And we're going to start hiding the sunset with the mask, and then it's going to bleed through to the layer below. And what's going to happen is it's going to really make sure that the two layers blend in beautifully. So pressing B, making sure the flow is really low. And I'm just going to make a few really small clicks. And it's going to bring in the detail of the sky and the tree line and meld it into one. And even though the background, the original sky was blue, as long as we're doing this at a very low flow rate, then the sky really blends in together just fine, especially because lots of these areas of the sky are blue anyway. And if you guys, take it too far like this, just press X and that'll switch your brush back to white, and then you can blend it right back in. So if you do go too far with it, you can always just revert it right back. So now we have a beautiful manual sky swap, or automatic if you want to do that way, that has a perfectly blended tree line that looks very natural. This is how I get my professional results. And while I'm explaining every step along the way here, if you guys are doing this on your own, you can do this in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and X that out and save changes. That way, it's going to come and load right back into Lightroom. So here we have the changes we've made so far. This is what we started with and the adjustments that we made. And now we have the beautiful sky swap, but it's really still not quite there yet. If we really want to make it pop to the next level, I'm going to go ahead and add a few more masks here. I'm going to add a linear gradient. I'm going to click and drag that on the bottom part of the image where the lawn is. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my curves layer and lower that. The reason why is it's going to make the entire image look a little bit darker, like it's a little bit later in the evening, but it's also going to draw the eye away from the bottom of the image and up towards the beautiful house here we have. And then if you guys want to make a few more adjustments, I would even suggest doing another linear gradient and bringing it down from the top. This is very similar to just adding a little vignette, and I'm going to, make it darker there. That is really nice. That just brings in the color tone of the sky so well and makes it seem so much later. And then we have, the house as well. If you guys want to, adding even another mask just to make the home pop out that much more, I'm going to select the subject once again, and I'm just going to bump up the exposure slightly. And I actually want to warm it up slightly as well to make it a little bit more homey. But anyway, I think that is a great result here for some very quick edits and as minimal Photoshop as possible. If you guys liked the pace of that edit and you feel like I really know what I'm doing, that's because I've been doing this for over 10 years and I know a lot about how to do real estate photos, how to edit them, how to shoot, but also especially how to run a business. So if you guys want to learn more from me, feel free to do so. We have 2 more videos coming in this series. The next one is going to be a lot more complex. That is how to hand blend photos of the interior with 3 brackets. And I know there's some tutorials out on it already, but they really overcomplicate things. I'm going to make it super quick, super easy, and get great results just like I have on the exteriors and the Twilights. Look forward to seeing you there.